Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Andrew Williams Jr. and another Conversations with Andrew Williams Jr. brought to you by TRN International News on the TRN.TV, the Revelation Network. Along with me this morning, we have our co-host, Lady Alicia Hamilton, who will be joining us for this October 26th, 2020 launch of the Revelation Network's TRN International News. So good morning, Lady Alicia. How are you?
I am well, Andrew, and we're in some very interesting times. I say
True.
very interesting because we are embarking on an election in America and actually in places around the world where there have been challenges to the, where does the list begin? So many challenges to what is true so people can have information and base their choices on truth rather than politics and things that have been manipulated. So this age of disinformation and misinformation is really been challenging for people to be able to, really know who to vote for and what to do. And so as you just showed the 100% vote, we need 100% vote. People sometimes think that their vote doesn't matter, that it's not going to make a difference. But in this case, it really does. It really does. Don't be discouraged. At least try. Get out there and vote like your life depended on it.
Well,
Right now
actually,
Hmm?
if I may, I will have to say that it is critically important. I was listening yesterday to a broadcast, and there was a African American young woman from Atlanta that said she's kind of on the fence this year about where her vote should count, but she does know that no vote counts as well. So it's our responsibility to take this effort to make sure 100% of us vote, regardless of who we vote for. The fact that we're voting shows that we're taking control of our own leadership.
Yes, that's very true, because when you don't vote, you're going to just get what you get, and you can't really complain when you didn't even try. Make the effort and vote. So important. And wait a minute, even I can't say more important, but just as important, research, read. Don't just look at one source of information. Unfortunately, right now, information coming in from various news organizations are very slighted to their perspective. So you can't just look at Fox, you can't just look at CNN, you can't just look at MSNBC. You have to look at them all. You have to read and research, and it behooves you to do that, because you can't just take things on face value anymore. Unfortunately, you have to do more research, and we've already seen the thwarting of even outside influences from other countries trying to confuse and scare Americans. They had recently some emails that went to voters who were Democrats and saying that if you didn't vote for President Trump, we were coming to get you. The Proud Boys were coming to get you. And they caught it and put it out. And who even knows if that story is true? But right now they do have the emails, at least, and people who they said, received these things as the a system was hacked or something, and they got their information somehow. But there are people who would love to see America implode. Remember that. We are conquered by fear. We're conquered by hatred. We're conquered by division. So anything that is leading you to being hateful, divided, not trusting, and all that, you got to rise above and look between the lines. Look at who would want that to happen, who's behind it. Very, very critical right now. So that's why we are doing TRN International News, not just bringing you the news, but also looking at it from a spiritual perspective as well, looking at the duality of what's happening at this time in our human journey, in our human existence.
Yes, so with that, we do want to welcome you all to, as I said, TRN International News. We do have media ambassadors all around the world. And part of our intent is to empower those people that are on the front lines of where things are happening right now. So we will get the real news from the people that are there on the streets, that are actually faced with the challenges that they're dealing with on a regular, ongoing basis. So I want to thank you so much, Lady Alicia, for providing us with this platform and with the opportunity to do so.
Yes, it's been real important, as we've seen over the last several years, that everyone who has a device, if you have a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, you are empowered to be a journalist. And there are many things we wouldn't have known the truth about if it were not for people on the ground showing what is really going on. In fact, recently, we've been following the story in Nigeria with the youth who were protesting about police brutality in their SARS movement. And when this incident happened last week, the news came out that the students or the youth, and remember Nigeria is what, 70% of the population of Nigeria is under the age of 30. And these people now have gone to school, they become educated professionals, and they want to contribute more, and they see the things that need to be corrected in their society, and they weren't getting anywhere, they felt, with the leadership, and so they decided to peacefully protest. Well, there was a curfew issued the day of the protest. They were already out there, my understanding is, and a lot of people did not get that message. And at some point, the lights were turned off and the cameras were turned off, and they opened fire on this crowd of youth, killing many of them. And so one would be too much, but it caused just a surge. Just so many people were just horrified that they would do something when these young people were peacefully protesting and asking for change. And so what you see on your screen there that Andrew has showed you is the petition that they have put up on change.org. And I think those numbers are from a few days ago. I know if they haven't passed 50,000, they're
Yes,
close
they
to it.
have. They're
Okay.
51,000 now. They're still
Yeah.
going.
Okay, so this graphic was from last week, and so they're at 51,000 now. But we did another segment on the 7-point demands that they're making, and so we won't go over that again here, but you can look for it at, as you see the URL, change.org /7 for 7. Yourself to read it. And then we also have a show here on the network. If you search, you can find that breakdown. And we had a discussion about that as well. But that is an example of one of the stories that we've been bringing because we have the citizen journalists on the ground in Nigeria through one of our media ambassador partners in Lagos, who has also amassed representatives in 35 of the states in Nigeria. So we'll be bringing you more information from the ground.
I'm sorry,
36.
all 36. Yes.
36. Okay, thank you. So we'll have more stories about this incident because of people having their cell phones and their devices that enable us to capture what's really going on. In fact, I didn't even see much of that story on our mainstream news here in the States. And so unless you have a citizens type of connection like we try to provide here at the Revelation Network and the Corey TV, you might not even know that even happened, but it's an atrocity. And it does model, unfortunately, what happened here in the States when President Trump had allowed his representatives to open fire. At least it was tear gas, not real bullets. But regardless, it was just wrong. But open fire when those protesters were in Lafayette Square in Washington. So all of this is where we have to be informed so we can make the better decisions. One of the great movements of our time is the foundation of, or the establishment of, the African Diaspora Development Institute under the direction of Her Excellency, Dr. Arikana Chihumburi-Kwa, who was the former ambassador for the African Union, representing all 55 countries to the United States. And under her leadership, she has put together a one-stop location for you to find out what is going on in Africa. So as Africa develops and is built out, especially now with the release of the African Continental Free Trade Area, you will be able to find out what projects are being done, what type of contracts are being sourced, and hopefully the Africa that we want as being people of African descent will actually be built by people of African descent. So, you know, there is, or maybe not, you may not know, but for example, there is a production going on right now to build a infrastructure for transportation across what we call the belly of Africa. Right now, I think the Chinese are first in line to build this, but we want to see it built by people of African descent and the benefits to go to the people and for the people. Because we do have that brain trust available around the world, and our ambassador is trying to find these people who can participate and or produce these infrastructure projects that are very necessary right now. Because for presently, if you want to go from, let's say, East to West Africa, you have to go from East Africa down to South Africa and then back up the coast. And there isn't a system or infrastructure, a railway and highway and all of that that goes across the belly, if you will. So with that being said, there's a lot of opportunity for people of African descent, and we will be able to follow that on our AHIABGA.org. More to come with that, amazing discussions and information. And again, be aware, be informed. So you know what you know that you know what you know, because you know and you did your homework and did the research, and you just can't right now, not even for us, take things on face value. I mean, we're going to do our best. We're going to do a lot of that homework for you here, but anyone can be misinformed, and what you knew on one day, once you get new information, may change, which is okay. I don't understand why people don't want to let go and hold on to a lie because they said something a week ago that they thought was true, but with new information, now they have to not so much be a hypocrite and they're not changing their mind. Oh my God, he said, you know, you said this last week, now you're saying this. With new information, you have to change your mind sometime. Like with our COVID crisis, you know, initially they didn't know that the mask was going to make such a big difference. And so it wasn't, you know, early on thought to be as significant as it turned out to be. Well, then they found out through research, wow, if you wear a mask and social distance, the amount of transmissions went down and there were less people in the hospital, less people dying. Okay, so new information, newsflash, wear a mask. But people have turned that, well, you said you didn't have to wear a mask, now you're saying wear a mask, and then you were lying, and oh, this is horrible. I'm so, I don't know about you, but I'm just really brokenhearted with what's happened with humankind in this season. But there's hope, because I do believe at the core there is hope for us, but it starts with us being informed. And so we're going to try to bring that to you here through organizations like the AHIABGA.org and through our citizen journalists. So as you see on your screen, wake up, y'all. It's time to get up and wake up. In fact, I'll mention here now that the ambassador has released her book, Africa 101, which is great information as well. So stay with us, and we're going to do our homework and do our best to bring you what research we find. But even with us, read further, read between the lines, because you have to be informed so you can make the best decisions, especially now with this election, which is only a week away. And there'll be more, as I heard today, more information released, breaking news that's timed to just cause doubt and fear and confusion with voters. It is what it is right now, y'all. We just have to be diligent, and do our homework.
Well, thank you so very much. That's been the introduction to the Revelation Network News, trn.tv.
Yep.
You can find us on 003 and make us your special channel, your very first channel, your choice, and you'll be able to join all those other 400,000 subscribers that follow our activities. We're going to close out now with Lady Alicia telling you a little bit about our upcoming launch to reach the terrestrial and satellite audience as well. And after that, we'll close. So Lady Alicia, back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And yes, we have a new release coming up, Nakori.tv. Nakori means truth in the ancient Adinkra language symbols. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to find Tim. We're looking for Tim. Can you help us find Tim? Tim is truth in media. Tim, we're looking for Tim. We're going to keep trying to find Tim because we want to, as like I say, we look at TRN, the Revelation Network, we look at all of these things from a spiritual perspective as well. That's what you'll be hearing from me. I'm kind of bent that way in ministry. But, scripture talks about seek peace and pursue it, and we're going to do that through seeking truth and looking at cutting through all of the craziness, because somewhere in that truth is an opportunity to also have peace. And so we're seeking peace and pursue it. But yes, with TRN International on portal number 003 is TRN International News, where you'll hear from Andrew and his amazing work with his citizen journalists all over the world who are bringing stories from the ground, what's really going on, unpoliticized, just raw information. And sometimes it's contrary to what you might see in mainstream, if you see it in mainstream at all. But all of it's relevant because it's all about what's happening in the world in this season of change. On the other side of this COVID-19 pandemic that has impacted the entire planet, we're looking at a post-COVID world. And prayerfully in that world, we will find people who are not wanting to leave others behind, as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal agendas. Don't leave no one behind. And we can share, we can have community-driven policy. That doesn't mean that well, I won't get political right now with my opinion, but let's just say we got a lot of work to do, but I have hope we can do it by looking at the truth and sharing it right here on the Revelation Network and Nakori.tv.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. And please, everyone, have a fantastic day.